Hey guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with female Haku, Kurenai and Kurotsuchi, part 1. Subscribe if you enjoy the video. Let's start the story. In a village that is surrounded by trees known as Konohara, the Leaf Village, and in this village there was an angry mob chasing a red-haired child, and he was called Naruto, and he had 3 whisker-like birthmarks in his cheeks, and was around 5 years of age. Then the child turned into an alleyway, hoping he would lose the mob. But it did work. Then before he knew it, he was pinned to a wall in a crucified manner, and the last thing he saw was a shinobi with silver hair that defied gravity, pulling out 2 kunais from his pouch and throw them at him while aiming for his eye. Then the mob started to attack the child, who had passed out due to shock. Meanwhile, inside Naruto's mind woke up in a sewer, and he said, "Where am I? This is your mindscape, kid." A female voice was heard. Naruto looks around and asks in a sacred manner, "Who there, and who are you?" "Someone that has been with you since the day you was born and is very sorry with how your life has been," the voice replied. "What do you mean?" Naruto asked. "I'll tell you when we met. Now come to me," came the reply. "So which way do I go?" Naruto asked. "It doesn't matter, all paths lead you to where I am," the voice answered. "I see," Naruto said before walking off in a random direction. In what feels like a 15-minute walk, Naruto finds himself in front of a cage that held what seemed to be a creature that had a pair of crimson fox eye. Then the creature said, "I see you are here, kid. Well, you did say you will answer my questions if I came here, and I want to know who you are. What did you mean that you have been with me since my birthday?" Naruto said. "Well, to put it in a way that you will understand, I am Kurama, the 9-tailed fox, and I am sealed in you, and that happened on the day you was born," the fox said, as she reveals herself. Naruto looks like he was about to cry as he said, "So the villagers are right, I am a demon." Before Kurama could say anything, there was a flash of light, and when it died, there stood a girl that had long silver hair and dark blue eyes, and she was wearing a long white coat with the sleeves rolled up with a black vest underneath, as well as a pink ruffled ascot with a sky blue gem in the center and white gloves. She was also wearing a pale olive green caprice and mid-shin black boots. And she said, "Now that isn't true. You are just a human boy that has been dealt a hand because someone wants to control something that is long forbidden." Kurama was in a state of shock upon seeing the girl, and she said, "Enna crows, what are you doing here?" Enna turns to the fox and says, "I was sent here to offer you both something." Naruto looked at the two, then asked, "You two know each other?" "Of course we do, after all she is like me before her original form went made, and both her sons had to do something to stop her," Enna said. "And what are you?" Naruto asked. "I am what you would an avatar," Enna said. "And what is an avatar?" Naruto asked. "An avatar is a being that has been created by a god-goddess own power as a way around their own rules to keep their creation in check or to keep balance, as well as protect humans from things that are beyond what human can handle," Kurama answered. "I see, so what do you offer us?" Naruto said, not really understanding what was said. "Well, for you a way to see," Enna said, then turned to Kurama, "And you, Kurama, freedom and your whole power back." "So, what do I have to do to get my freedom back?" "Also on one condition," Kurama asked. "Well, that all depends on Naruto, and if he agrees then I will ask what your condition is. Then I will have to speak to Kami and see if she will agree," Enna said. "Well, that is better than a straight up no," Kurama said. Then they both turned their attention back to Naruto. When Naruto saw that both beings was looking at him, the first thing he said was, "Wait, I'm blind, but I can see also Kami is a girl." "Well, yes, seeing as he is my creator and an avatar take the gender of their creator," Emma said. Then she gave a big sigh, knowing what she is about to say isn't easy, then said, "Unfortunately, because this is your mind, you are able to see, but outside of here, that's not the case." "So, what would I have to do to see again?" Naruto said. "For you to become a different type of avatar," Emma said. "Huh?" Naruto said with his head tilt. "Before the era of shinobi there was the era of benders," Enna said. Seeing Naruto still have a confused look, she said, "Being that are able to move the element itself." "So, what does that have to do with anything?" Naruto asked. "Everything, as humans back then could only use one element, but the avatar is able to use all 4 elements," Enna said. "Don't you mean 5?" Naruto said. Emma shook her head and said, "No, I mean 4, and they are air, water, earth, and fire, seeing as lighting is a form of fire back then." "So, what would I have to give up if I do become this avatar?" Naruto said. "You would have to give up your chakra," Enna said. "Then there is no other way for me to see again?" Naruto asked. "Well, not one that is within the god's rules," Enna said. "I will do it, then I will become a one-of-a-kind ninja," Naruto said. Enna smiled, then said, "That's good." Then she turned to Kurama and said, "So do you want to know what you have to do for your freedom and power back?" "Yes, I am," Kurama said. "You are to be the animal companion to Naruto like all the past avatars," had Enna said. "Should have seen that one coming, seeing as the avatar always have an animal companion, Naga with Kora, Appa with Ongfang with Roku. Now I will do it that Kami frees my sisters without killing their host, and that we can't be sealed ever," Kurama said. "Well, as I said, I would have to speak to Kami too. I will see what I can do," Enna said before reaching into her pocket and pulls out a glowing orb, and it floats and forms a man that was bold and with a blue arrow on him. Then man looks around and sees Enna, then he asks, "Where am I?" "Well, Ong, you are a boy that has had a rough live and has agreed to become Korra's successor, Enna replied as she gestured to Naruto. And what of the beast, Ong asks as he points to Kurama. Don't mind her as she might leave soon enough, Enna said. I see, and who would teach the boy the other elements, Ong asked. Well, Kami was thinking your wife Katara for water, Iroh for fire, and Toph with earth, as well as how to see we the Bai is now blind. Enna said now I will leave and get the other souls for Naruto and to see if Kami will agree to Kurama condition. Then she disappeared in the same manner that she appeared in. Ong turns to Naruto and asked, are you ready? Ready for what? Naruto asked. For you to start to your journey, as the avatar, Ong replied. Well, I guess, Naruto answered. Then Ong nodded. Then his eyes and arrows began to glow. Then he submerged. Then the water began to glow. Then the water went to Naruto and encased him. Then 5 minutes later, the water went back to normal. Naruto shakenly got up and said, well, I don't want to go thought that again. Well, don't worry, you don't have to do it again, Ong said before saying, now, as your new avatar, you can't control the elements so you can't get out, but as you let me, I can get you to safety. Okay dude, Naruto said as his eyes began to glow. Real world, it has been 5 minutes since Naruto had passed out. Then he woke up with eyes glowing. Then a little tornado surrounding him destroying the building, freeing Naruto, and the sky darkened and one of villagers said kill the demon, it's gaining its power back. When the wind stopped, Ong stood there. Then he said that in enough, leave now or else. Then the man with pale eyes stepped forward said, and what are you going to do? You are outnumbered. What might be the case, but you are outmatched now, step aside, I don't wish to hurt you and I know Naruto doesn't either, Ong said. You're bluffing, I can see that you don't have chakra, the pale-eyed person said. And yet you see nothing, Ong said before stamping his foot, and a fissure opened up starting at where his foot was. Then he swings his arm and a gust of wind sent mob flying out of the alleyway. Just as Ong was out of the alley, he was surrounded, but the Anbu, looking around, he sees one, the cat Anbu that actually protected Naruto. Then he said, if you're here, then the Hokage Sarutobi is nearby. Then next thing, Ong knew cat Anbu had her sword at Ong's throat and she said, how do you know that and what have you done to Naruto? Be easy with that sword, if you hurt me then you hurt Naruto, seeing as I am Naruto, Ong said. Don't lie to me, Naruto is a 5-year-old kid, Nico said. I am not lying, I am Naruto and you could say I am one of his past lives, Ong said. What do you mean, an old man wearing robes that represent the Hokage? I will explain what I mean in private, Ong answered. Very well, but try anything, Sarutobi said as he led Ong to his office. Like you would do anything, after all you see Naruto as a grandchild, but rest assured, I won't try anything, Ong said. When they got to the office, the Hokage sat at his desk, then dismissed the Anbu, then asked, so who are you and what are you? Well, my name is Ong and I was, or is it him, the avatar, Ong said. And what is the avatar, Nico asked as she refused to leave. The avatar is a being that predates the ninja era. Then you live now where there was something similar known as bending and there were 4 main elements, well 5 if you count energy bending, and all benders can use only one element except for one individual, Ong said. That individual would be the avatar, Sarutobi asked. Yes, the avatar is also the bridge to the spirit world as well, Ong said. I what you said there are other elements, Sarutobi asked. That's right, just like your chakra have sub-elements, so did bending, and with a lot of talent and practice you could bend element that are like to that element, Ong said. I see, so why have you come here, Sarutobi asked. Ong gave a sad sigh and asked, before you mind if I have a seat, and Sarutobi nodded and gestured to the one in front of him. Then once Ong said, he said, well, as you know there was an attack on Naruto, and the old man nodded. Well, this attack was worse than others. Both Sarutobi and Nico gasped and the Nico asked, so what happened? Well, I don't know who did it, but they took Naruto's eyes, Ong said. So, he can become a ninja, Sarutobi said in a sad tone. Now I never said that, I said they made Naruto blind doesn't mean he is helpless, Ong said. Both Nico and the Hokage gained a confused look and Nico asked, what do you by that? Well, my earthbending teacher was actually blind and she got around just fine and she didn't let that stop her as she became one of the best as well as the founder of metal bending, Ong replied. How did she manage to see then, Sarutobi asked. Well, she used her bending to feel the vibrations in the earth, Ong said. So, like bats with echolocation, Nico said. That's right, so a god's avatar by the name of Enna gave Naruto the choice to gain this ability as well as bend the elements to your will or be helpless, Ong said. Great to hear, but what did he have to jive up to be bender, Sarutobi said. Well, he had to give up his chakra, as chakra and Kai cannot coexist, and right now, he is losing the ability to use chakra, and, in the morning, he will be a bender, Ong said. Well, if it's his choice then I cannot hold it against anyone, so what happens now, Sarutobi said. Well, first I would like some chakra paper so we know where to start, as there is certain way when learning the elements. Then I wait for Henna to show up with the other souls, that is to help train Naruto Naruto, then tomorrow we leave the village, so Naruto can train in peace, Ong said. I understand, and I take it he will be back when his age group graduates, Sarutobi asks, as he pulls out a piece of paper. Yes, he will, Ong said, which got a nod from Sarutobi in agreement, as Ong was about to channel some of Naruto's chakra into the paper, when he was interrupted by a bright light. A light, and Enna Crow stood there with 4 glowing balls, and she ignores Sarutobi and Nico, and turned to Ong, and said, I am back. I can see that, so did Kami agree to Kurama's condition? Ong asked. She did, seeing as it was a noble request, and I will do that tonight, Enna said, as she places one orb in her pocket, and managing to balance the other 3 in one hand, before she rams them into Naruto's body, and when she pulls out an orb, then she brings out the orb that she placed in her pocket, and fuses the spheres, then she places it on the ground, then it forms a small fox with red-orange fur, and red eyes with long thick black lashes. She also has large ears, small arms and feet, and a fluffy tail. Then she said, now Kurama, seeing as you don't have a connection to an element that the Avatar's companion usually has, so Kami gave you a few abilities. Nice, so what can I do? Kurama said. Well, you will have to find that out yourself, Enna said. Then she saw that paper Ong was holding when said, so have you found out what element Naruto has? Ong shook his head and said, no, I was about to when you showed up. Then he channeled some chakra into the paper and it split, and he said, so he's starting out as an airbender. Now that is surprising, as the land of fire don't get many wind types. Now you better go, as I am sure Naruto is tired. Also you need to get ready for tomorrow, Sarutobi said, and Ong looks at Enna. Enna sees Ong looking at her, and she said, go, I need to speak to the old man also to motivate him a bit. Tell him that for each element he masters, Kami will send me to tell him something, and I will tell him more in the morning, and Ong nods. Then he heads out of the office, and heads to Naruto's apartment to get a bag ready, and Nico was accompanying him. Sarutobi looks at Enna, and asks, so what do you want to talk about? You are a coward, and you have become stupid and weak, Enna said. Now just wait a minute, Sarutobi said. Enna interrupted the Hokage by saying, I know what you are going to say, and let me tell you something. You knew that Kushina was the Jinchuriki, and Minato did all he could to keep Kushina safe for those that would want to use the Kyuubi, and yet someone knew and found them when Kushina went into labor. You think someone leaked where the safe house was? Sarutobi said. I don't think I know, someone did, and also it was your student that leaked Naruto's status to the villagers, Enna said. Knowing there was only one student of his in the village at the time, Sarutobi said, why would he do this to Naruto? Simple, he wants to control something that no one has the right to control, to the point that he lied to Kushina, who left the village and took her daughter with her, Enna said. Wait, you mean to tell me that Kushina is alive? But I saw her body and she only gave birth to Naruto, Sarutobi said. No, what you saw was a horrid called the death clone, which can change a dead body into another, and Kushina gave birth to twins that night, Enna said. And how do you know this stuff? Sarutobi asks. Well, I am the head avatar, as my creator is the head goddess herself, Kami, and she and I are linked, so I can do her bidding, like when someone think it's a good idea to interfere with a prophecy, Enna explained. Then she said, also how you have been handling Naruto. What do you mean by that? Sarutobi asked. Telling him that you don't know who his parents are. Do you know that he thinks they abandoned him? Enna said. Realizing that Enna was right, bangs his heads on his desk and said, what have I done? You need to make it right. You can do that tomorrow. Now I have to go, as I have other thing to do, Enna said. Then she left in the manner that she appeared, leaving the old Hokage deep in thought. Once he was done thinking, he pulls out some paper and writes a note for Kushina to tell her that Enna told him. The following day, Sarutobi, Kurenai, Anko, Hana, and Nico showed up at the gate, ready to say bye to Naruto before he learns all about bending for the next 10 years, and when he did show up, it was a teary goodbye. Then Naruto left with his fox companion next to him. It has been 10 years since Naruto became the Avatar and left to master the 4 elements, and at one of the gates there was a group of 3 people, and a floating fox was coming up to the gate. The first person of the group was Naruto, whose eyes are a dull version of the kitsune, and next to him was 2 females. The first one was called Hakuyuki, and she had long black hair, pale skin, and large dark brown eyes, and a slender frame, and the second girl was known as Kurotsuchi, the granddaughter of the 3rd Tsuchika Jinoki, and she has short black hair and distinctly pink eyes, and the last member of the group, which is Kurama. Naruto turns to Kurotsuchi and said, what the matter, Kuro? Nothing wrong, Naruto. Kurotsuchi lied. Kurotsuchi, while I might be blind, we both know that I see more than everyone. Even what you lie, Naruto said. And we both hate that you can do that, Naruto-sama. Haku said. Is it because we are going to Konoha? Naruto said, causing the girl to flinch. Then he said, well, if it makes you feel any better, if anyone knows who you are and plans to attack you, then they will be having flying lesson. Plus if they do attack, then I will most likely be their target. The 2 girls nodded as they understood, as they asked how Naruto became blind, and Kurama's ears dropped. Then she said, and I am sorry for what happened for your first 5 years, kid. It's not your fault, Kurama, and even if it was, you have more than made up for it, Naruto said. Got that right, seeing as I am your eyes at time, Kurama said. And what good is it, as you can only like the sights when you sit on Naruto-sama and can hold it no more than 5 minutes, Haku said in a jabbing manner. Knowing what was coming if the 2 continued, Naruto said, alright, enough, you 2 too, causing the two to stop as they were getting near the gates. As the group approached the gate, the guard said, "Hold, state your business for coming to Konoha." "We are here to talk to the Hokage about several things," Naruto said as Kurama floated over to sit on Naruto's head. "I see. Well, can you please sign the book please?" the guard said as he handed Naruto a pen. Naruto gently taps his foot to see the man holding something at him, and before he could say anything, Haku took the pen and said, "I will be taking that, seeing as he is blind." Then she looks at Kurama and stuck her tongue before signing the paperwork. "Alright, all looks in order, go on though," the man said after looking at the paperwork, and he remembers something, then asks, "Do you need any help getting to the Hokage building?" "Thank you so much, and no thanks, I know where it is," Naruto said as he walks through the gate with Haku and Kurotsuchi behind him. The guard looks confused and mumbles to himself, but he has never been here before, although he does seem familiar. Then another guard came out building and said, "Hey, wasn't that the demon?" The first guard then realized why Naruto seemed familiar, then said, "Kami, you're right, he was the demon," and that's how he knew where the Hokage building was. As the group was walking through the streets, Naruto was getting looked at by everyone as they was trying to figure out who he was. Then one man remembered, then grabbed the closest thing he could, which was a knife, and said, "So you decided to come back, you little demon," and as he was about to throw it, he was shot into the sky by a bit of earth that came up from the ground and was sinking back down. When the man hit the ground, he had lost the knife, just managed to sit up when the knife hit the ground, just missing his private, causing the man to faint with a rather darkened patch on his trousers. Naruto and the girls were laughing at what just happened, although the girls were laughing harder as they can see the guy pissed himself. Then Kurotsuchi said, "Man, I can't wait to be able to do that." "That might be true, but remember that you will only be able to do it after you and I get married, and you will have to willingly give up your chakra." Kurotsuchi nodded and said, "I get it, but why?" "Because Kai and chakra can't work together. When the sage gave the world chakra, he thought it will stop wars between the benders and non-benders," Naruto said. "And how do you know that?" Haku asked. "Simple, I ask him, seeing as I am able to go into the spirit world, I sometimes look around to see if I can learn about the world from the bending era," Naruto said. "So, anyone that hasn't been reincarnated lives in the spirit world," Kurotsuchi said. "That's right, but it's mostly those that was spiritually aware," Naruto replied. Meanwhile, in the Hokage building, Hiruzen was doing paperwork when the doors opened and a blonde girl around 15 years of age came in, followed by a woman that looked like she was late 20s to early 30s, and the old man said, "Hello Kushina-chan, and to you as well Naruto-chan, what can I do for you today?" "Well, Hiruzen, has Naruto had showed up yet?" Kushina replied. "No, I haven't received any reports of someone using weird jutsus, but no, he will show up in the next few days, seeing as I have received word from the monkeys that we have been using to keep in touch that he is on his way, as he wants to talk to me about something," Hiruzen replied. "So, what do you think he want to talk to you about?" Jiji Naruto asked. "No clue, but I might have an idea," Hiruzen replied. "Really, what?" Kushina asked. "Well, from what the monkeys say, since he started bending, the spirits that has been helping him has taught him more than bending, and he makes an excellent cup of tea which I want to try from what the monkeys have been saying. So, he could be opening up a tea shop," Naruto said. "Well, that what I think," Hiruzen said. "Well, is his mother, I will be there for him no matter what, just like I should have been before," Kushina said, having a downcast look. "Be the end." "Well, I am sure Anna has told him everything, seeing as she did take quite a liking to him," Hiruzen said. "And I still say that I should have hunted Jiraiya and kill him for what he did to my baby boy," Kushina said. "I know, but like I told you, he is an expert in hiding, and we know we won't find him unless he wants to," Hiruzen said as he remembered the day Kushina came back. Flashback a month after Naruto left. Hiruzen was in his office worried about Naruto when the door busted opened and an angry woman with red hair came marching in, and Hiruzen said, "Ah, Kushina, good to see you again, so what can I do for you?" Kushina walks desk and said, "Alright Hiruzen, how did she find out?" Having an idea on she was on about, so he asked, "How did who find out?" "I don't know, some girl with long silver hair and dark blue eyes, and she was also wearing a long white coat. She appeared like Minato, but without the marker and at white light and not a flash, and she just walks up to Naruto and said, 'I am sorry, but someone need this more.' Then she plunges a hand in my baby girl's body and pulls out a glowing ball which later we found out to be the Kyuubi's power. Then she disappears in the same way she appeared," and Kushina said. "I see, I do know who you mean, Kushina, as I met her a month ago, the same day Naruto lost her status as a Jinchuriki, as she was helping out your son," Hiruzen said before feeling some Kai. Kushina, who was unleashing Kai, looked at the Hokage and said, "So who is she? And don't you dare talk about my dead son that way. Her name is Enna Crows. Also Kushina, your son is alive. You were lied to 5 years ago," Hiruzen said. Not believing Hiruzen, Kushina said, "Okay, let's say I do believe you now. Why did you send Jiraiya to say that the sealing failed and Naruto was dead?" "I did send him to you, but to say the sealing was a success and was alive and healthy, but want to control something that should never be controlled, Hiruzen said. What do you mean, Hiruzen? Kushina asked. When Jiraiya first heard of the prophecy, I thought he was lucky and that it will give him a change to better himself to be worthy of training the child of prophecy. But a month ago when Naruto was yet again attacked, it sent a chain reaction all around the land, Hiruzen said. I am afraid to ask, but what do you mean by that? Kushina asked. Before Hiruzen could answer, there was a flash of light and Enna Crows appeared, and she said, I will answer that as well to your any other questions you might have. Kushina, you see, a month ago Naruto was attacked for the umpteenth time since Jiraiya leaked that Naruto was a Jinchuriki. But last time the mob took Naruto's eye, so Kami sent me to help her chosen one, so I gave him the ability known as bending and will give him the ability to see. But how would bending give him the ability to see? Kushina asked. As long as he remains barefoot, he will see though the earth thanks to earth bending, so I made him the latest incarnation of the most powerful bender, also known as the Avatar. Enna replied. I see, and by what you said I take it the Avatar can bend all 5 elements, Kushina said. Well, with bending there is 4, as lighting is a sub-element to fire, but yes, Enna answer. Kushina nods and not really understanding what was being said, so he asks her next question. So how did you know Naruto was in Jinchuriki the Kyuubi? Well, unlike the bending Avatar which was created when one a firebender merged to a spirit known as Rava can't appear on the mortal plane, so they can create beings out of their own power, also known as Avatar, and I am an Avatar of the goddess herself, and I am to do thing that she need to sort out, Enna explained. So why did you need to take the Kyuubi's power? Kushina asked. Maybe because she set the fox free, Hiruzen replied. You did what my husband died to seal it away, Kushina said. Enna looks at Kushina with a critical eye before asking, tell me Kushina, what happened on October the 10th? Not to tell that I was in labor when the fox attacked and that Minato sealed it into our children as they were the only 2 that can handle the power, Kushina replied. That is not true. Kurama was sealed inside and you was hidden away so no one can use your weakened state to extract the Biju out of you, but I am sad to say that Minato told someone which did the job and used the Kyuubi to attack that village, that both he and Jiraiya knew the seal he needed to use would take his soul as payment that was non-negotiable, so the plan was that you leave with Naruto while Naruto was used as scapegoat, then when you come back you kill him as he would look like you, son, Enna explained. But there is no way that Minato would ever do that, Kushina said, not noticing a faint glow on the back of her neck. Enna sees the glow, then gives a sad sigh before walking over to the picture of Minato before removing the photo and activated the seal and a set of book, then she handed them to the red-haired mother and said, here is what you would find out about what you need to know about all of Minato's plans he had with the council. And Jiraiya now stands still. Kushina looks Enna confused before the Avatar slaps the back of the neck and destroys whatever seal on there, causing the Kushina tongue collapse. Then the Avatar lifts up the female and slings her over her shoulder and turns to the Hokage and says, well, I best be of and take Kushina home so she can read that sort of person Minato was, as well as prepare top set thing right with her son when he returns in 10 years' time. That might be for the best. Also please leave a note that once her rampage is over, I would like to see her, Hiruzen said. As Enna was walking out of the office, she waved it off and said will do, and once she was out the office she saw a little girl that was 5 years old and said, hello Naruto, sorry about last month, but I needed the power that was sealed inside you. I would go into depth, but you are too young to understand. That's okay miss, but what happened to Kachan? The young girl said. Asked. She is just taking a nap as I removed something that shouldn't have been there, so it is now my responsibility to take you and her home, Enna said as she held out her hand so Naruto could take it. Then they left the building. End of flashback. Hiruzen inside as he was about to start chatting to Kushina and Naruto when his comm went off. Outside building, Naruto and his group was lust entering the building. They walked in and went up to the receptionist and Kurotsuchi said, hello, can we see the Hokage? The receptionist looks at a schedule and said, you're in luck, he is free, let me just see if he will see you know before reaching to the comm and say, Hokage-sama, you have a group of 3 people that want to talk to you. Alright, send them in, the Hokage said. Will do, the receptionist said. Then she said to the group, go on though. Thank you, Naruto said. The receptionist sees Naruto's eyes and asks, wait, will you be able to get to the office? Okay. I will, after all that's what the fox is for, and I have a special technique, Naruto said, then points to Haku before saying, and Haku here tries to help, but I don't let her, and, as the group was heading to off, Kurama was looking at Haku with a smug look. Once the group was outside, Kurotsuchi knocked and they heard the Hokage say, come in. Naruto was the first one to enter and he said, hey old man, did you miss me? Hiruzen looks at the blonde for a moment before recognizing him, then said, Naruto, is that you? Naruto nods then said, right, so you haven't gone senile yet, Gigi. So who are the 2 females that was in here before we got here? Before Hiruzen could say anything, Kushina said, I am your mother and I am sorry for leaving you, but I was told the sealing failed. I know because Ena told me, and I can tell you are telling the truth, Naruto said. Thank you Naru-kun, Kushina said, as she ran over to Naruto and to give her son a long-awaited hug, and this time she doesn't plan to let go, and Naruto followed soon after. Hiruzen coughed to get the trio to separate, then said, I see your training was a success. Damn right it was, Naruto said. Then the old man noticed the eyes and asked, so what happened to your eyes? I don't know, one time Kurama was sitting on my head 1 minute using earth bending to see, the next I am able to see, although it was for a few seconds, and since then my eyes have been like Kurama's, and according to the girls when the connection is there my eyes brighten up, otherwise they are dull, Naruto replied. I see, so what can Kurama do? Hiruzen asked. Well, so far we have discovered that she can change her size while in chibi mode she can float around as well as turn into the 4 elements, and we can form a giant creature, and she can hold my stuff in her tail. So, like one of those bags that has a seal that make it bigger on the inside, Naruto said. That's right, but so far we haven't found a limit on how much that goes in, and only she can place it in her tail to be active, Naruto said. Well, that's understandable, otherwise everyone will be putting things in her tail, Kushina said. So, what of her other form? Hiruzen asks. Just a smaller version of her true form, Haku said. Thank you miss, so who are you two anyway? Hiruzen asked as he looks at Naruto's companions. Well, I am Haku Yuki of the Yuki clan, who has an ice type Kekkei Genkai, and I am also Naruto-sama's weapon, Haku said. Now that is a lie, as that is my job, Kurama said before flying at the ice user. Naruto sighed before saying forget about them, and Kurama is right, she isn't my weapon, but she says that I am her master, as I help her out when she was at a low point in her life. What do you mean, Naruto? Kushina asks. Well, I met Haku a year after I became the avatar, and was learning water bending from Katara-bachan when I was passing an alleyway, and saw something inside causing me to stop, and ask who was there. Then Haku walks out, and feeling how she was if equals offered her something to eat, and she tells me how she became homeless. Then after hearing that I asked her if she wanted to join me, and she did on one condition, Naruto said. And how did she become homeless, and what was the condition? Hiruzen asked. Well, as you know, at that time there was civil war going on. Well, Haku's mother managed to get out, but was injured, but luckily for her a man was passing through, and healed her, and later fell in love. Then not long after that Haku was, and when Haku discovered her she showed her mother, but she hoping she would be happy, but she wasn't, and told her not to do it again. But what they didn't know was that the man saw, and left to get some people, then they came, and to kill them both. They killed the mother, but in a terrified state Haku's bloodline killed everyone else, Naruto said before giving a sad sigh before continuing. Now, as for the condition, well, it was when I am able I helped the civil war I did after I learned the other 2 elements. I see, Hiruzen said as he took a puff on his pipe before turning to Kurotsuchi and asks, and who are you, my dear? Well, I am Kurotsuchi, and I am the granddaughter of Inoki Kurotsuchi, causing everyone apart from her companions to go wide-eyed. Hiruzen encompassed himself the quickest before saying, I see, so what are you doing here, seeing as your village hates ours? Well, that is why I am here, to bury the past, and for what is worth Jiji Nether hated Konoha for what happened, seeing as it was a war, Kurotsuchi said. So, what does you being here got to do with letting bygones be bygones? Hiruzen asked. Well, some point I plan to marry Naruto, as he saved my life because I got kidnapped, as the person that was supposed to protect me let it happen, and before he could say where I was, my supposed protector killed my kidnapper, and I was in a cave for 2 days before Naruto felt me under him and got me out. Then Jiji let Naruto stay for a few days. Then, as Naruto was about to leave, I suggested that I leave with him, that way whatever happened won't happen again, and I also suggested a way to let the past remain in the past, Kurotsuchi explained. The arranged marriage, Hiruzen said, which got a nod from Kurotsuchi. Well, sound like you had an eventful journey, Naruto, Naruto said. You have no idea, Naruto said. Well, we will leave it there, as Kushina wants to connect with her son, and you two want to settle down, and the exam will be tomorrow, Hiruzen said. Then the now group of 5 left the office, and Kushina read Naruto, Haku, and Kurotsuchi the Uzumaki home, while Naruto left to speak with her friends. But Naruto woke up the next morning with Kurama on his chest, so he shook the vixen awake, and then went to get up, and the moment one of his feet touched the floor, he saw someone approaching the room he was in. Then he hears his mother said, Naruto, are you up? I am, thank you. So where are Haku and Kurotsuchi? Naruto said. Well, they were up about an hour ago, and tight now they are outside training. Now come on, it's time for you to have breakfast, Kushina replied. Did someone say food? Kurama said before flying out of the room, which got a laugh from both mother and son. Kushina was the first to stop laughing before turning back to her son to say, listen Naruto, which got his attention, before we go and get breakfast, I know I have said this to you yesterday, but I really am sorry for abandoning you like that. If I had known that you were still alive. Ah-chan, that's enough. I know you are sorry. I can feel that you are trembling, and while I will admit that I was angry and upset when Ena told me that you was still alive, as I was thinking that you didn't love me, you thought I was a demon like everyone else, but Ena sorted that out straight away, and quite frankly, it was a good thing you did, Naruto said. And how is it a good thing? Because of that you are blind, Kushina said. True, but because of that I have a power is now based basically extinct, and I am the strongest one of them, Naruto said. Thinking about what her son had said, Kushina said, well, you do have a point there, but now I am worried that people will try and use you for their own personal gain. Well, that can try, but they will fail, Naruto said with confidence. And how can you be so sure, Kushina asked. Well, how I can tell is the same way I can see, Naruto said. So, you never really got into it yesterday, but how are you able to know where you are going, Kushina asked. That is thought the use of earth bending. I am able to see seismic activity, Naruto said. Kushina's eyes went wide, then said, oh, I get it, so you can know the vibrations on the ground. Naruto nodded, then he said, right. Then they both left the room and headed to the kitchen. An hour later, Naruto, Naruto, Haku, and Kurotsuchi was getting ready to leave when Kushina said, now Naruto, you take care of your brother, not that he needs it, but help him when his bending can't be effective. Will do, Kachan, Naruto said. Kurama then got into Naruto's face and said, hey, that's my job. Haku then grabbed Kurama by the scruff and said, no, that's my job, you floating furball. Oh, I can merge with Naruto to form things that can go toe-to-toe with a Biju, carry stuff, and can become his eyes. So what can you do, Kurama said asked. Well, nothing except for carrying his stuff and be his eyes, Haku said in defeat. Naruto sighed then said, alright you two, that's enough, we have to get going to the academy. Okay, sure, both Haku and Kurama said at the same time before turning to each other, then said, this isn't over. Then the soon-to-be ninjas left after Kushina gives Naruto a note from the Hokage. Once at the academy, Naruto lead the others to the classroom, and upon entering, Naruto walked up to the teacher that had a scare on his face. Then she said, as she hands the note over, hey Iruka-sensei, got a note for you. The teacher takes the note from Naruto and reads it, then said, I see, thanks Naruto, now take your seat. Naruto nods, then goes to her seat, and as she was going, Iruka said, alright class, we have 3 people taking the exam. Then a pink-haired girl stood up and shouted, who can you let 3 wannabes just join us like that? Naruto tapped his foot to feel who was calling them wannabes, then he said, well, from what I hear you are the wannabe. What did you just say? The pink-haired girl said. What kind of ninja has a shirking voice that you properly don't know when to shut up? Naruto said, which got a shriek from the girl. Then a boy with red markings on his cheeks notices Naruto's eyes and he asks, hey, what's wrong with your eyes? Well, to simply put, I am blind, Naruto replied. Then a black-haired teen laughed and said, well then how can you be a ninja if you're blind? So leave this to the elites. Well, I know the 2 lovely ladies behind me are better than you, and I am more than capable of holding my own, Naruto said, while getting a blush from Haku and Kurotsuchi. The black-haired boy scrolled deep and then he said, I guess you don't know who I am. Naruto smirks then said, well, give the guy a prize, after all I just got here just yesterday. Then let me tell you how I am, the boy said. Oh, please do enlighten us, Kurotsuchi said, as she was the one that held the most powerful title under Naruto. Before the black-haired boy could say anything, Iruka said, Sasuke, sit down, you 2 Sakura, then we can start the exam. Then he turned to the trio, then said, you 3 can take which seat is free. Then, as the 3 was going to their seats, the sensei said, wait, Naruto. Naruto stops then asks, as he turns to face Iruka, what is it, Iruka? Iruka was bit hesitant to ask at first, but he asked, I mean no offense, but will you be okay with the exam? No need to worry, I will be fine thanks to Kurama here, Naruto replied, as he points to Kurama who was sitting on his head. Then he turns and goes to sit down. How did I miss the fox that is sitting on his head, was the thought for most of the class. Once Naruto took his seat, the instructors started to pass out the tests. Then Iruka said, you have 1 hour, begin. Then there was the sound of pencils writing on paper. Once the hour had passed, Iruka said, alright, the exam is now over, put down the pencils. Now we are going to take a small break so we can collect and grade the exams. Then everyone left the room and the 2 instructors got to work. Outside, Naruto, Haku, Kurotsuchi. Then Kurotsuchi said, what kind of exam was that? I knew most of that, and I am now even from this village. I know what you mean, Kurotsuchi. Tsunade-sama would be ashamed of how the village is, considering it was her own grandfather that built the village with her grandmother Mito Uzumaki, and Madara Chiha, Haku said with a sigh. Well, it's a good thing that she is coming back in a month, Naruto said before turning to the side, as he felt 3 people approach. Then he said, hey Naruto, who are your friends? How did you know it was me? Naruto asked, shocked. Along with her friends, one was blonde, while the other had lavender hair. Well, I tend to learn how my allies walk, so that way they can't fool me, Naruto said. Yeah, that little trick has saved us a lot of trouble, Kurotsuchi said with a little laugh, as she remembered the numerous time people have transformed into her and Haku to get close to Naruto. What do you mean, and how did you know we was coming? Seeing as you're blind, the blonde asked. Well, like I said earlier, just because I am blind doesn't mean I am not capable, I just see another way. And Naruto, everyone may seem to walk, but they have a slight difference. Also, who are your friends? Naruto replied. Oh, right, I was shocked to know that you knew I was coming anyway. To my left is Ino, and to my right is Hinata, Naruto said, and stumped her feet to said person. Hinata noticed what Naruto did, asked Naruto, why do you stomp your feet? It's to let Naruto see who I was talking about, Naruto replied. And how can he see us? Ino asked. I see though the earth, Ino, Naruto said. How, Ino? And Hinata asked. Well, for you to know that you need to know that I don't have a single ounce of chakra, Naruto replied. How is that possible? Hinata asked. Well, it's like this, and it's also how I lost my eyesight, Naruto said before explaining how he became the avatar. When Naruto was done, Ino and Hinata was shocked. Then Ino said, so you have a power that predate the shinobi era, and this power lets you bend 4 elements of the 5 elements. Well, back then it was 4. Lighting was a sub-element for fire, just like combustion, Naruto said. So, don't the other elements have sub-elements, Hinata asked. Well, earth and water does, and all the elements have a skill that you can gain if train hard enough, Naruto said. Well, what are they, Ino asked. Well, water bending has blood bending, and the ability of healing. Now earth has metal, and lava bending, and the ability of sense seismic activity. Now air gives you the ability to fly, and is astral projection, Naruto replied. Then they fell into a comfortable conversation. After 10 minutes had gone, Iruka had come out and said everyone came back in so we can start the jutsu part of the test. As the students was entering, Naruto walked up to Iruka and said, Iruka, I am going to skip this part of the exam because I don't have chakra. Iruka nods and said, I know, as it was in the note that your sister gave me. Great, Naruto said before heading inside. When then test was done, Iruka said, alright class, the part of the exam is over, so please head outside for the last part of the exam, the taijutsu. Sakura then stood up and said, Sensei, you missed the blind baka. That's because I can't use chakra, you banshee. Now shut up before you find out what I am really capable of, Naruto said before leaving the room. But as he took the first step, the whole building shook. When the shaking stopped, a teen that had his hair in a pineapple style said, what caused the earthquake, seeing as we're not on a fault line? Naruto turns to the teen then said, from what I understand, Shikamaru, that little quake was caused by Naruto. Sasuke perked up at hearing this. Then Haku said, and that was a tiny bit of his power. Then both her and Kurotsuchi followed Naruto to the arena. After a few minutes, the others started to follow, and as they were walking to the arena, Sasuke thought, I must get that power so I can beat him. Once the class was at the arena, they were shocked to see rocks of all sizes and orbs of water floating around. Then Sasuke said, give me that power. Naruto looks at the class, then said, sure, I can give you this power, but unlike me, you will only have control over one element, but it will come at a cost. What do you mean? That in order to do what you can do comes at a price? A boy with a big build, who, as standing next to Shikamaru. Well, in order to do what he can, you would have to give up something, Haku said. And it's chakra we would have to give up, isn't it? Shikamaru asked. It is. So the question is, will you give up chakra to bend one of the 4 elements? Kurotsuchi said. Before anyone could ask about the bending arts, Naruto said, how about we finish the exam before you ask us about bending? He is right, let's start the taijutsu exam. The first spar will be between Naruto and Sasuke, Iruka said. As the 2 students was walking into the arena, Sasuke said, get ready, you'll lose dope because you will be where you belong. And where is that? Naruto asks. Beneath B, as I will be taking that power that should be mine, Sasuke said. Naruto laughs at this then said, oh, and here I thought it was me still standing in the ring and you outside, and I doubt you will be much of a challenge, which got a scroll from Sasuke. Once the 2 boys got into position, the instructor said. Sasuke launched himself towards Naruto, and as he was about to punch him, Naruto deflects the punch and with the same hand grabs the wrist, and as he does, he starts to turn around, and it caused Sasuke to go turn, and the process nearly sent him out of the ring. When Naruto was done with the technique, Sasuke got up and said, so you are nothing without your bending, because if that's all you've got, then that is pathetic. Well, that was me being kind, but if you want, I can attack, Naruto replied with a smirk. Scared that I will beat you? Sasuke said. Nope, just don't want to embarrass you too much, as you're not much of a challenge, unlike that Kunoichi village that I went to once, Naruto said, as he remembered visiting Nadeshiko village and the promise he made to Shizuka that in 5 years they will fight, and that time is in a few months. Haku and Kurotsuchi both smiled at this as they saw how Shizuka was developing feelings for Naruto, and Kurotsuchi said, so Naruto-kun, are you excited for the promise you made? Well, yeah, after all, she was great to be around, even though that rule of theirs is a pain in the ass, Naruto replied. Sasuke took that moment to give Naruto a punch, but Naruto dodged it and he countered with a punch of his own with enough power to send Sasuke out of the ring, and everyone was shocked at how easy Naruto. Then Iruka said, winner Naruto Uzumaki. As Naruto was walking out of the arena, he said, and that was why I was going easy on you, Sasuke, because unlike you I have real world experience. When the exam was over, the students was back in the classroom waiting for the instructors to return, and when they did, Iruka said, alright, now, as I call your name, please step forward and receive your head protector. Then he started to call names that had passed. Then once that was done, he said, and with that I congratulate those that have passed. Now be here tomorrow at normal time for your team placements. Then he dismissed the graduates. As Naruto Kurama, who was sitting on Naruto's head, Haku, Kurotsuchi, and Naruto was leaving the academy building, Naruto, who still has to put on the headband, was running his fingers over it. Then the vixen asked, what are you thinking, Naruto, which got the attention of the others. Well, I am going to see the old man to see if I can modify my head protector a bit, Naruto replied. You're thinking about putting the 4 elemental symbols on it, ain't you? Kurotsuchi asked. Naruto nodded and said that I am, but I do believe that I need the old man's permission to do it. Then with their next plan set, the small group was walking out of the grounds and head to the Hokage's office. They heard someone says, "Hey, wait up, I need to speak to you about something." "So, who do you need to speak to, Mitsuki-sensei?" Naruto asked. And Mitsuki said, as he points to Naruto. "About what do you need to speak to him about?" Kurama asked. "Sorry, but I can only speak to him in private," Mitsuki said. "Go on ahead, I will catch up with you," Naruto said to his sister and girlfriends. Then he said, "But Kurama says, as she is my eyes." "You sure about this?" Haku asked. "Yes, I am," Naruto said, then leans in to give Haku a kiss in the cheek, then whispers he is up to something, and by doing this we can see what he wants. Haku nods, then continues walking to the Hokage building. Then Mitsuki said, "Now please follow me, and I will tell you something that very few newly graduates can do." Then he walks to a secluded part of the school with Naruto following. Once at the area, Mitsuki said, "Now what I am about to tell you is only for those we, as instructors, tell, say so, no telling anyone else, got it, or it would class as a failure." Naruto nods, then said, "Got it, so what is it?" "Well, I know that you are more capable than the average genin, so there is a secret exam that we can minister that allows you to be promoted to Chunin." Mitsuki lying. Naruto knows Mitsuki was lying, so he asked, "What do I need to become a?" Mitsuki smiled and thought, "This in perfect, I get the forbidden scroll from my master and the demon take the fall." Then said, "In the Hokage office, there is a vault with a large scroll in it. All you have to do is break in and get it, then take it to a reclusive part of the forbidden forest, the place that has the large trees and a fence around it." "No offense, but I do know where training ground 44 is, and I accept," Naruto said. "That's great, but remember, don't tell anyone," Mitsuki said. "Got it," Naruto said, then he heads off to catch the others. Once Naruto caught up, Kurotsuchi asked, "So what did the sensei want?" "I will tell you when we get to the old man," Naruto said. Then they continued their walk to the building. When Naruto and the gang got to the Hokage's office, Naruto walks up to the receptionist and asked, "Hey, can we see the old man?" The receptionist looks at the schedule, then said, "Nope, he should be free right now, so go on in." "Nice," Naruto said then, as she and the others went on to the office. Then she said, "Hey old man, my brother has a request." Hiruzen looks up at the group, then said, "And what would that be?" Naruto-kun. "I was wondering if I could get my head protector modified a bit," Naruto said. "Oh, and what would that be?" the old man said. "I want to get the 4 element symbols," Naruto said. Hiruzen thinks about it, then said, "Well, I don't see why not, as it is a part of who you are, so if you hand me your headband, as well the symbols of the element from the art of bending, and I will sort it out, then you will get it back in the morning." Then Naruto and Haku walked up to the desk and handed over what was needed. Then the old man said, "Thank you, and is that all?" "Not yet, old man, because you might have a traitor in your village," Naruto said. Hiruzen's face then became all serious. Then he said, "That's a very accusation there, Naruto, can you prove it?" "Not really, but Mitsuki said there is a secret exam that the sensei can minister that allows more than capable students to be promoted to Chunin," Naruto said. "And I can vouch for that," Kurama said. "So, what is the secret test?" the old man asked. "It's to steal a large scroll, then take it to a clearing in the forbidden forest," Naruto said. "The large scroll, does he mean the forbidden scroll?" Hiruzen thought. Then he said, "Well then looks like you have your first mission, Naruto." "I do," he does, Naruto, and the girl said. When Hiruzen looks at Naruto, not that Naruto then said, "Now Naruto, seeing as this is a setup, I will need to make it look believable, so I will need to let everyone know that you have something that shouldn't have." "I understand that, as it is to make it look authentic," Naruto said. Hiruzen smiled, as Naruto didn't mind on what he had to do. Then he said, "Well then you all better get going, and Naruto, see you in a few hours. Oh, and don't tell anyone about this." The teens just nodded. Then they left the office, then they headed home. When they got home, that was met with Kushina, who asked, "So how did it go?" "It went great, even though Naruto will most likely be called to meet the civilian council," Naruto replied. Kushina turns to her son and asked, "And why would they call you?" "I might have injured the emo king's ego a bit," Naruto sighed, not really caring. "So how did you do that during the exam?" Kushina asked. "Well yeah, and it only lasted a few minutes before I gave him a punch that was hard enough to send out of the ring," Naruto said. "But maybe that will teach him that he isn't as good as he thinks," Kushina said. Then she heads into the kitchen. Then she said, "Now then let's have something to eat." A few hours later, Naruto was in the Hokage's office and the old man said while holding the forbidden scroll, "Now Naruto, you understand what's to do?" "Yes, sir. After you give me the scroll, I head to the clearing to meet Mitsuki. Then when he shows up, I give him an asking he won't forget." "Well, not how I would have put it if I was talking to the Hokage. But I am not surprised, seeing as you, your sister, mother Tsunade, and Mito usually don't give a damn on how you talk to people of authority," Hiruzen said. "Am tied, I don't. You can also ask Inoki when you next meet him," Naruto said. "Now we are off track now, as I have said earlier, in order to make Mitsuki believe that you have stolen the scroll, I will need to alert all available ninjas in the village and have them look for you, but I will tell them not to harm you," Hiruzen said. Naruto nods the said, "I understand, but if they come at me with the intent to kill me, then I will defend myself, because I know that even though I have been gone gone for 10 years, there is still hatred for me all because of my asshole of a father. Hiruzen nods, then he said that is understandable, and I will let the hospital know that there could be a few ninjas coming in. So, what's your plan once you have handed me the scroll? Naruto asked. Well, I plan to wait for an hour before I call a meeting which will include some of the medic to find you, Hiruzen replied. Naruto nods as he took the scroll from his grandfather figure, then said, Kurama, my glider please. Coming right up the chibi, floating fox said as she reached into her tail and pulled out a long pole that was about the size of said teen. Naruto takes the pole then, thanks. Then when Kurama sat on Naruto's, his eyes gained some color, then he goes over to the window, then the pole, then some wings was revealed, he then left via the window. An hour later Hiruzen had called the meeting, and when everyone was there, he coughed and said, alright, I have called you here because we have an emergence on our hands. Then a raven-haired female with ruby eyes asked, what kind of situation is it? Well, to put it simply, Naruto stole the forbidden scroll, so I want you to find him and bring him to me alive. Hiruzen, sir, wouldn't it be best if we kill him for taking the scroll? After all, when he gives it to one of our enemies, they could gain the power to crush us, spoke a male with gravity-defying silver hair. Well, I would normally do that, Kakashi, but I have a suspicion something isn't right. Then there is the fact if Naruto wanted to, he could level this village on his own, and in a matter of minutes, Hiruzen said. Then a male with black hair asked, what do you mean, Pops? Well, to simply put, how can a blind person know about the scroll when they haven't been in the village for 10 years? Hiruzen replied. Well, when you put it that way, then I would also think someone is behind it, the man said. My thoughts exactly. Now you are dismissed, the old man said. Then all but one person exited the room. Then Hiruzen looks at the person, then asked, what can I do for you, Kushina? Kushina walks up to the desk, then asked, what's really going on here, Hiruzen? What do you mean? Hiruzen asked. What going on with Naruto? I might not have been in his life for 15 years, but from what I have found out from Fem Haku and Kurotsuchi is that there is no way he would have stolen anything, Kushina said. With a sigh, the aged Cage took a puff of his pipe, then said, you're right, he wouldn't do something like that. I gave him the scroll. The mother then slammed her hands on the desk, then asked, what was you thinking just giving Naruto something like the forbidden scroll? Well, for starters, he can't learn anything from it, as he has no chakra, remember, Hiruzen said. Realizing that Hokage was right, Kushina then said, of yeah, I forgot about that. Then she looks at the old man, then said, so what else is there seeing, as you said, for starters? Well, it's a trap to get Mitsuki, Hiruzen replied. What does he have to do with this? Kushina asked. Everything, seeing as he lied to Naruto saying that there was a secret exam that would let him become a, Hiruzen explained. And because he underestimated what Naruto is capable of, he felt something wasn't right with how he walked. Then when he was told about the exam, he came here and told you, Kushina said. Well, you are half with the reason why he came here, Hiruzen said. Kushina then gains a confused look, then asked, what do you mean? Well, you were right, he did come here and told me, but he was already coming here anyway, Hiruzen answered. And why was he coming here? Kushina said. Because he wanted his head protector modified a bit, Hiruzen said. What was the modification? Kushina said. The modification he wants done is to put the 4 symbols of the 4 elements of bending, Hiruzen said. I see, well, I would do the same thing if I was in my son's position, Kushina said in a thoughtful time. Right, which is why I said I will do it, seeing as the symbols are a part of Naruto, the aged Cage said. So is there any other reason why you let Naruto do this mission? Kushina asked. Yes, there is, it's to see what Naruto is capable of, Hiruzen said. Then as he looks at Kushina and palled at seeing the mother pissed off, then he quickly said, now Kushina, oh, I'm not doing this to use him as a weapon. After all, the moment I do, I am sure I would doom the village via Naruto doing something, or a pissed off avatar for doing something like that with Kami's chosen one. Seeing that Kushina had calmed down, he said as he brought his crystal ball out, so do you want to see what your son is capable of? What kind of mother would I be if I didn't know what her children are able to do? Kushina said as she took a seat next to the old man. Naruto was in the forbidden forest meditating in the middle of the clearing when suddenly a bush started to rustle, but Naruto didn't even move a muscle. Then 2 animals leaped out of the bush, which revealed to be a white tiger and a large black dire wolf, who both tackled Naruto, which got him to laugh. And once they stopped licking him, he then asks Kurama, what's with the 2 animals licking me? Well, Naruto, the first one is a white tiger and the other one is a large wolf, Kurama said before remembering something. Then she said, hey Naruto, didn't you save a white tiger cub from traffickers that decided to into the village, and there was a rare one, seeing as she had power over wind and thunder. Remembering what she is on about, Naruto said, oh yeah, I remember her, didn't I name her Kahaku? Also, didn't I also save a pitch black wolf pup that had as much stamina as me and is practically indestructible and can travel between shadows, who I named Akami? That's right Naruto, you did. And seeing these 2 together and being affectionate with you, that would mean that these 2 are Kahaku and Akami, and by the looks of they still remember you, and once they want to catch up, Kurama said. That's great, and I would love to, but I can't, as I have to do first, Naruto said, as he began to stroke Haku and Akami. Right, Kurama said before turning to the two animals, then said alright, you two, you have to go, as Naruto has something important to do, and the reason why Naruto hadn't came to visit you in the past 10 years is because after an attack 10 years ago he was left blind, and so he left the village to get used to the new power that he gained. The two animals looks up at Naruto's face with a sad look, then they began to rub their heads on him and gave sad whimpers. Naruto gets what they are trying to say, said, as he rubbed their heads. Hey, none of that, I have gotten used to it, and just because I am blind doesn't mean anything. Then he felt someone coming, then quickly said, you two need to get going. Don't worry, I will be fine. Then once I am done here I will come and find you. They gave Naruto another lick on the face before running behind a bush and turned to face the clearing. Naruto feels the smirks then, though I wonder if the old man would give me 3 head protectors for the 3 of them. Naruto felt the person was just around a tree, and, as the person walked out revealing to be Iruka, and he looked at Naruto, then he said, Naruto, do you have any idea on what you have done? I do, and I am waiting for someone to show up, Naruto replied. Iruka just sighed, then said, look, I know you are 4 talented, but you can just steal something like the Forbidden Scroll. Before Naruto could say anything they both heard Mitsuki say, very well done, Naruto, now give me the scroll, and I will tell the Hokage that you passed the test, all the while thinking, foolish demon, like there was ever exam like this. Once I get the scroll you are dead, and I will be hailed as a hero for killing the demon. When he saw that Naruto hadn't moved he said, hey Naruto, let me tell you a secret, one that everyone knows, but you. Knowing what his co-worker was about to say, Iruka quickly shouted, you can say a word, it's forbidden. Oh, be quiet, Iruka, Mitsuki said before turning to Naruto, then said, you see, 15 years ago on the night that the 9-tailed fox attacked there was a cover-up, while the textbooks say that the 4th killed it. The truth is he couldn't, so he did the next best thing, and that was to seal it into a newborn child, and that child is you, and therefore making you the 9-tailed in human form. Naruto and Kurama floated there before they somehow looked at each other before busted out laughing, and Naruto said after calming down a little, do you hear the, Kurama? Oh, I am hearing, still trying to figure out how that, believe that, replied the fox before they both busted out laughing again. Both Iruka and Mitsuki looked at Naruto and Kurama, then the latter shouted, what the fuck are you two talking about? Managing to calm down enough, Naruto said, to start things, of your info is a bit dated, as I have known about Kurama here for the past 10 years, and another thing, I am a male not a female. Mitsuki scoffs, then said, anyway now give me the scroll and you can become a. Naruto then smirks, then said, yeah, I don't think so. What are you on about? Mitsuki said in surprise. This, Naruto said before passing it to Iruka, then said, Iruka, take the scroll and get out of here. Iruka looks at Naruto then said, and how do you know that I'm not with Mitsuki? Easy your body language, Naruto replied. And how can you see that when you are blind? Iruka asked. There is more than one way to see, now get going, Naruto said, then he swiped his foot and the instructor was moved towards the fences. Then he said, Kahaku Akami, protect him. Then he felt 2 animals left and followed Iruka. You know something, that was a foolish mistake sending Iruka away with the scroll, Mitsuki said. Was it now? How come? Naruto said asked. Well yeah, after all, how can a blind kid surpass to be me? Mitsuki asked. Well, don't you know one of the rules in a fight, don't underestimate your opponent, as you don't know what they can do, Kurama said. I do know that, but come on, this is a blind teen, what can he do seeing as he can't? Mitsuki said. Well, you're right, I don't have chakra, but I have something better, and it predates the ninja era, Naruto said with pride. Then he said, oh, and one more thing, just because I am blind doesn't mean I am helpless. Then he stumped his foot. Then Mitsuki was sent flying into a tree, and on the way down he was hitting a branches, and a couple of the hit went in between the legs. Once Mitsuki was on the floor he shakenly stood up, then asked, what the fuck was that? That was what I am capable of doing. Now will you be a good little boy or a bad little boy? Naruto asked. Like I will fall to a demon like you, Mitsuki said before he charged at Naruto. Naruto waited for Mitsuki take a couple of steps so he can judge the speed and distance with the steps. Then once he has it, he took a step. As the foot hit the ground a little began to form, and as the tunnel got a Mitsuki just as his footy hit the ground, then the next thing Mitsuki know he was facing the other way. Just as he was realizing what was happening, he started to groan in pain. The Naruto sent him into a tree and was knocked unconscious. Then Naruto said, and that is why you don't mess with me. Then he quickly put him in cocoon made from earth. In the office, Kushina and Hiruzen was impressed by what they saw. Then the old man said to Kushina, well, I think we should head there now. You're right, we should, Kushina replied. Then they both left the office. As Naruto was walking out of the forest he heard a pained roar, so he drops the cocoon and heads towards where He3 heard the sound with Kurama flying behind him, and when he got there he saw Iruka on the ground with a giant shuriken in his back, Kahaku on the ground with a gush in her side, and he couldn't see Akami as she was in a net trap. And 3 other people. Then he asked what's going on here. We are here to eliminate any and all witnesses and our master would like these animals, one of the men said. Like hell I will let you do that, Naruto said in rage as his eyes began to change and the earth started to shake and he looked up, then opened his mouth and a torrent of flames came out and shot to the sky. Meanwhile at the Uzumaki household, Haku and Kurotsuchi felt the earthquake and seized the flames. The4N they both had one though on their mind. Oh shit, I have to go before the other Naruto does something that our Naruto would hate. Then they left the house and headed to Naruto. When the stream of fire stopped, Naruto looked straight, but now his eyes was now black and redder eyes, but the dullness still showed that he was still blind. Then he said, Fox, what happened? Kurama flies in front of Naruto, then said, don't call me Fox Yami, my name is Kurama. And the 3 people that are standing attacked a wolf and tiger that Naruto freed and cared for. What their purpose for them are I don't know. I see, Yami said, then turns his attention to the 3 shinobi then asks, so what do you plan to do with my companion? Well, as I said, we plan to take them to our master to he can try and get more of them, not that you will be around, one of the shinobi said. Then as he was about to reach for something he suddenly found himself buried up to his neck. Then he said, what happened? Yami chuckled a bit before saying, well asshole, that would be me. You see, I have the power to bend the 4 basic elements. Then to prove his point he waved his arm and a gust of wind sent one of the 2 free shinobis into a tree. Then he used some water from a stream that was nearby and froze the last shinobi in ice. Then he said, what should I do to the 3 of you? As Naruto was thinking of what to do to the 3 shinobis that had attacked Akami and Kahaku, Hiruzen and Kushina showed up and the latter, what's going on here? I have no idea, old man, Kushina said as she observes the situation. Well, either way we have to do something, Hiruzen said, which Kushina nods. Kurama sees Hiruzen and Kushina about to do something, so she quickly flies over to them and said, wait, don't I know you want to do something, but don't do anything otherwise you will get hurt. What do you mean, Kurama? Kushina said. Before Kurama could say anything, Kurotsuchi and Haku landed not far from them and the former turns to the flying fox. Kurama, what happened? It started when Naruto was waiting for Mitsuki when 2 of Naruto pets that he rescued as a kid got a bit excited upon seeing him and they was meant to escort Iruka out of the forest, but that was attacked by masked shinobi saying that they have been after Akami and Kahaku for years, and upon feeling Kahaku had a large gush on her side and not knowing what the stat of Akami is and brought out Yami. Kurama said, well then, it's a good thing that Naruto asked Kushina to make those seals, Haku said, as both her and Kurotsuchi activated the seals before jumping down on land on the ground, then heads to Naruto. Hiruzen turns to Kushina and asked what seal was she on about. Well, when was having breakfast, Naruto asked me if I could make a seal that can stop vibrations, and I asked why. He said that he hoped that I find out, Kushina replied. Meanwhile both Haku and Kurotsuchi was looking at Naruto with sad eyes when Haku asked while whispering, so who's going to calm him down this time? You can, because I think I did it last time, Kurotsuchi replied. Thank you, Haku said before rushing toward Naruto. Then she said, hey Yami. Naruto turns around then said, who's there and why can I see you? But he got his answer by Haku kissing him on the lips. As Naruto was calming down his eyes turned back to normal, then he went limp. The moment Naruto went limp, Haku was ready for it and said, I have you, Naruto. Kurotsuchi was walking up to them said as she took an arm, don't you mean we have him? You're right, Haku said. Then they both seized the Hokage and Naruto mother walking up to them. When Kushina sees her son being held by Haku and Kurotsuchi and said, what happened? Don't worry, Kushina, this usually happens when Naruto get possessed. He will be up in a sec, Kurotsuchi replied. Then all of a sudden Naruto let out a groan, then asked what happened, because the last thing I remember was seeing Kahaku with a large gush on her side. Then his eyes went wide, then rushed over to he and pull some water from the stream and begins to heal her. What are you doing, Naruto? Hiruzen asked. It's a water bending power one that allow the bender to heal, and with water from a sacred place you can revive someone that hadn't long since died. Well, according to Katara Bachan, that is, Naruto said. I see, well I will leave her and Iruka to you, but see me in the morning, so you tell me what happened. Hiruzen said. There isn't much to tell. When Ena removed Kurama there was an unforeseen side effect, Naruto said. And what side effect is it? Kushina asked, fearing for her son. It created a dark version of me who's named himself Yami, and from what I have been told he will attack the ones that brings him out and those that get in his way, no matter if they are friend or foe, Naruto said. Realizing why he asked for the seal, Kushina said, that's why you ask for those seals, it's to protect those you care for as they try and calm you down, and why Kurama told us not to do anything. Naruto nodded and said, that's right, Koch-an, it is because so far every time Yami has came out he has sent both Haku and Kurotsuchi to the hospital. Heck, I am still surprised that old man Inoki let his granddaughter come with me when he came out when someone tried to put a slave seal in Haku, and I also sent a third of his forces to the hospital as well, and that includes Haku and Kurotsuchi. Well, I am sure he trusts you even with your darker side, Hiruzen said as he watches Naruto go to Iruka. Then there was some whimpering, then he looks and sees the large wolf, then said he goes over to the net right let's get you done, and we will take you all, and the white tiger to the vet, and Aruka to the hospital. Once the wolf was free, she went straight to the tiger and gave her a nudge, then Haku said oh isn't that cute. It sure is Haku Kushina said. So those are the infamous Shadow Wolf and Thunder Tiger Hiruzen said. Kushina looks at the aged cage and asked wait you know about them. I know of them because for the past 10 years the forest has become much more safer and I had Anko look into it as she come in here a fair bit and she said someone or something has taken over the forest as she has seen animal that should have attack her left her be. But she never did find out who or what was not king of the forest. Then there had been times when someone who was trying to get away from our forces and came in here because of the rumors so we left them be. But then the next day they was in front of the T&I building and they had said something about a tiger with wing and lightning and a large black wolf that travels through the shadows and is durable and so I have sent Ambus in here to find them but they never found anything Hiruzen said as the forest resident came to help the white tiger. Well, I think we just found the queens of the forest Kushina said and she watches Akami get Kahaku onto the back one of the lions. Then a large beetle goes back into the forest and a few minutes later came back carrying then Cocoon Mitsuki. Well, I am all done Naruto said as he stands up then goes over to Akami and Kahaku and said as he pats their head so you two have made a home in the forest of death ha, I am so glad you found happiness. Then Akami barked and growled then Kurama flew over and said Akami said that well they did make a home for them but they went truly happy as you weren't there and they was sad as they thought you abandoned them but now they know the reason why you weren't there and when they was tasked with protecting the human with a scroll they decided that no matter where you go they will follow you. Are you sure this is what you want to do after all this is you forest is home Naruto asked but all he got in response was a lick on the cheek and a hug which he gladly returns then to his and everyone surprised the animals except for the lion that had Kahaku and the beetle with Mitsuki dogpiled Naruto. Seeing the deadly animals of the forest of death dogpile Naruto like they were harmless made the old man smiled. Then he remembers oh right Naruto mind freeing the 3 shinobis. Right Naruto said as he gets up then he frees the 2 shinobis but they wasn't free for long as Akami had instructed the spider to encase the 3 of them in thread so they couldn't get away then as soon as they was secured on a large bear and Aruka on the beetle they started to leave the forest and the animals that wasn't carrying anything scattered back into the depths of the forest. Once they was outside they was met with a squad of Anbu as they tried to arrest Naruto but before they could Hiruzen said hold it there is no need to arrest Naruto as he was on a mission and I had to give the illusion that I didn't know what was really going on so the real person behind it would make a mistake. Now I want 4 of you are to take Chun and Mitsuki and the 3 other shinobi that is on the bear and take them to T&I and I want them questioned first thing in the morning which 4 of them nodded and did as instructed then Hiruzen continued and another one is to take Chun and Aruka to the hospital for a once over just to make sure he is fully healed and fit for duty and I want a report don't and on my desk first thing in the morning then when another on did as instructed then he and the rest of group headed to the vets for the same for the white tiger. After a couple of hours of 2 thorough health checks Akami was cleared to do mission with Naruto while Kahaku was to take it easy for 3 days then they all went home and called it a night. The next morning in the Hokage office there was a Jonin meeting and Hiruzen said alright then now time to get the meeting started. Then the man with gravity defying hair stepped forward and said I request I have Sasuke Uchiha Sakura Haruno and Naruto Uzumaki. May I ask why those 3 Hiruzen asked. Well, isn't it custom to have the top shinobi and Kunoichi along with a dead last shinobi on a team Kakashi replied then thought then on the first mission out of the village I can kill the demon. Well, I can give you Sasuke but you are going to have to choose who do you want more Sakura or Naruto Hiruzen asked. May I ask why I need to do that Kakashi asked. Well let's just say that for everyone's I need to keep Naruto with either Haku or Kurotsuchi or both and also someone had made a request for him as well so I need a good reason to put him with you Hiruzen said. I see Kakashi said thought shit this isn't good as I don't have a good reason on how I can train the demon. Then he said unfortunately sir I don't have a reason on how I would be a better sensei. That's good so you will be having Sakura Haruno and Naruto Uzumaki Hiruzen replied. Thank you, sir, Kakashi said before stepping back. Then a woman with ruby eyes stepped forward and said sir may I request Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shino Aburum. Now that is an interesting combination. I take it you plan to make a tracking team Kurenai Hiruzen said. That's right sir Kurenai said. Hiruzen thinks about it for a moment then he said granted Kurenai then she stepped back with a nod then the cage then he said Asuma. Yes pops a man said while having a cigarette. I have decided to let you have this generation of the Inoshikacho Hiruzen said. Thank you pops Asuma said as he stepped back. Now is there any more wanting anyone specific Hiruzen said then when no one stepped forward he said very well you may all go and I will decide it on who gets who then everyone left. Then when they all left the cage said don't think I don't know what you was planning Kakashi then went to back to the team placements. A few hours Hours later with all the newly graduated class was ready for what team they will be on, and Naruto had both Kahaku and Akami with him, but they were at the back of the classroom when Iruka walked in, and he was walking a bit stiff, which most of the class noticed. Then Sakura asked Sensei, "Why are you walking a bit stiff?" "Well, Sakura, I was attacked last night, but someone healed me, and now I am okay. I just have to take it easy for a week or so," Iruka said. Then he seized the tiger and wolf and said, "I see you have them with you today, Naruto." "Yeah, well, they was following you. They decided to leave the forest and be by my side. Oh, and get this, these two are said to be the rulers of the forest," Naruto said. Iruka chuckled a bit then said, "Well, judging by how strong they are, I don't doubt that," as he remembered that there was 7 shinobis that attacked them last night. Then he asked, "So how are they? Got pretty beat up last night." Sasuke turns to look at the 2 animals, then thought, if they are as strong as Iruka says they are, then I must have them. They are fine though. Kahaku can't do anything too strenuous for a few days, but I have an appointment in 5 days to see if can start training," Naruto said. "That's good to hear," Iruka said before pulling out a folder, then says, "Alright, now then it's time for your team placements." Then he starts reading out the teams, same as canon, but Naruto will take Naruto's place, and finally team 11 will be Naruto Uzumaki, Hakuyuki, and Kurotsuchi. Your sensei will be Kushina Uzumaki. Now please wait here for your senseis." Then he leaves. After 5 minutes had passed, Sasuke gets up and walks up to Naruto and waited for Naruto to say something, which got a laugh from Naruto's girlfriends, because Naruto had his feet on his desk with his eyes closed. Then Haku said, "Naruto, someone is getting impatient." Naruto eyes his eyes then asked, as he puts his feet on the ground, "They are, who are they?" The moment his feet hit the ground he sees that it was Sasuke, then said, "So what can I do for you, duck butt?" Sasuke growled, then said, "Give me the wolf, tiger, and you're at it, a fox as well, because they are wasted on someone like you." "That's right, give them." Sasuke Kami would be better with him. "Yeah, that's not happening because they are mine, and I will never give them up. Now if you don't want me to hurt your pride a bit more, then goes away," Naruto said, as his eyes glowed blue. Sasuke did as tell, but he was grumbling. Then he thought, if he isn't going to give them to me, then I am just going to have to take them, and maybe the council can help me with that. Haku and Kurotsuchi was watching Sasuke and saw the look on his face, and they thought he is up to something. Then they both looked at each other, then gave a small nod. Ino was looking at Naruto while thinking, what makes you, and how came I am intrigued. Then she did something subconsciously and did a hand seal over her heart and whispered, "Mind transfer." Inside Naruto mindscape, Ino found herself on a courtyard that was in the middle of 4 temples, and each one had a symbol on them, and there was a lot of people. Then she asked, "Where am I? I was supposed to be in Naruto's mind so I can try and get to know him." "Well then, girly, why not speak to him yourself, as we don't like it when someone invades our mind." A female's voice suddenly spoke, causing the mind walker to jump and spins around to see a woman in her late 30s early 40s with cyan eyes and brown hair, and was wearing some kind of battle uniform with a fur around her waist. "Who are you? How are you here when it's impossible to have something in a mind unless you're a mind walker, and how do you know Naruto?" Ino asked. "Well, those 2 questions have the same answer. I know Naruto like we all know him. You could say that we are his past lives, we was always there. Yo, keep the balance when the need arises. My name is Kora," replied, then goes on to say, "and it's best for you to go, as your sensei should be arriving soon," and with a nod, Ino exits the mind with even more questions. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then, sayonara.